part 2 of the previous video on the manhwa in the House of the Damned or the Haunted Mansion. We left as Albert was reading Arden's diary. In the diary, Arden is expressing his love for the master. Every little detail he notices, for example, he says the master can eat normal food like apples other than blood. Overall, the whole diary is about how he adores and loves the master, what he would have done for him if he weren't going to die soon, and other things. He also writes about the first time he realizes his disease got serious, and him realizing he is going to die, soon leaving behind the master alone. Albert, who is reading this, realizes how much Arden loved the master, and that he was behind the reason why all the Blakes were to attend to the master. He becomes sad for both, and goes to the master's room to cuddle. One of Arden's wish was to take the master outside and show him how it was. So Albert decided to fulfill this by taking the master to the market, not market per se, but just around the town. Albert took the carriage that he came with to go to the town, and he tries to confront the rider about what he said about the master. On the other hand, the master is alone in town waiting for Albert to come. By the way, they went separately, so the maids don't see them together. He's thinking of how much Albert reminds him of Arden. This is when it's revealed all the people that came before Albert. After Arden's death, a girl came, then Alberto, Albert's dad, and then Albert. We don't know anything about the girl and the master's story. While the master was lost in his thoughts, Albert came and the whole interaction in the market was cute. We see Albert talking about how he loves the master in his mind and all. He also relates to Arden for loving the master because the master is too precious for anyone to fall in love with him. I know the art was good in this, but the art kept getting better after every panel from this chapter. Albert adoring the master was also very cute. I also love the fact that it haunts Albert for thinking the master was an awful monster. LOL. Anyways, they go back to the mansion when they finish their business in town, and while they were on their way to mansion, Albert kissed the master's hand, and that somehow makes him feel something. The master was fluttered, but Albert was even more worked up. So what does he do next? He requests to sit next to the master while the carriage is moving. Even though it was dangerous, Albert couldn't stop himself and insisted on getting closer to the master. As expected, the carriage stumbles, and since they were passing on a mountain bridge, their carriage breaks and they fall off the cliff. This part was beautifully drawn. I loved it. Anyways, the master jumps after Albert to save him, and they both fall inside a water body. I don't know if it was a river or a lake, but just know it was water. This somehow angers the master, and he slaps Albert for putting himself in danger. They later find out that master hurt himself, but he is a vampire. So that was not a big of a deal. He just healed himself immediately. After this incident, they look for an inn to spend the night, and you know what to expect. We see the master enjoying a hot bath, and Albert being an impatient little dog, LOL. He was expecting the master would invite him to the bath, which he eventually did, but it took him a century of patience. It was 2 minutes. The master apologizes for slapping him, and they open up to each other in the bath. Albert talks about how his dad used to abuse him, and the master opens up about how his mother traumatized him. Oh, also the master hated Albert's dad because he reminded him of his mother. They were both manipulative and emotionally abusive, so yeah. This makes Albert sad for the master, and he starts crying. Our little cry baby. At that moment, Arden appears to the master, and he talks about how Albert is so similar to him. He asks the master if it feels like it's his reincarnation so-and-so. This whole Arden appearing to the master situation was just him telling the master to just accept Albert and not an evil way of saying you betrayed me, like you will expect. So yeah, it was kind of emotional. Fast forward, we see new faces, hot antagonists at that. Hell yeah. Anyways, after the inn incident, Albert and the master become super close. They are like lovers now. They are teasing and flirting with each other. So cute. There is a party in the mansion. The master hosted the party without physically attending as a token of appreciation for the maids, so it's just a maid party so they can have fun. At the same time, robbers were targeting the mansion that same day. In the party, the little girl in the previous video disappears. It's revealed that she was not a maid, but her sister was. So that's why she was wearing her little maid dress. Anyways, Albert volunteers to help the big sister look for the little girl, and we see the little girl getting captured by the robbers. At the same time, the other maids left behind are met with some of the other robbers. Of course they are threatened, and Albert comes to their rescue. Seems like they found the little girl, and now they all have an idea of at least what is going on in the mansion. One of the robbers is apparently a famous and dangerous person who's also a monster like the master. They realize the gravity of the situation and the fact that the master is in great danger. Albert runs to save the master after he helps the maids flee the mansion. Albert, after running to the master, finds him and he reassures the master that he will always protect him. Albert also confesses to the master at that moment. It would have been such a wholesome moment if it wasn't ruined by passing a bullet through the master's head. OMG, the expression in Albert's face. Anyways, one of the men who was the vampire did it. And he had the audacity to tell Albert that the master for real can't survive from this, because apparently the bullet was made of silver and it kills vampires. We see Albert losing his mind. Every Blake comes to his head telling him to end the vampire that did that to the master, and he stabs the annoying vampire. You know, this is a human versus a vampire, so you can guess the winner, LOL. Anyways, the vampire gets back at Albert and he stabs him with his hand. You know how vampires usually can pass their hand through your chest? He does that. Albert falls to the ground and we see the evil vampire admiring the master, saying it was waste to kill him with a beautiful face. The master wakes up. The art in this panel was creative. We see the master slowly standing up as the evil vampire walks away. The evil vampire realizes this and he is shocked. At the same time, the master glimpses to his side and he sees Albert laying there unconscious. The audacity of the evil vampire to start yelling at that moment. Anyways, the master shuts him up and it was so satisfying. Here we see how strong the master really is compared to the other vampires. At the same time, the master is panicking and worrying about Albert. His confusion about if he really sees Arden in Albert or if he sees Albert as Albert. The master comes to terms with the fact that he always saw Albert as a unique, lovable boy. And in his mind, he thinks about if it's okay to forget about Arden, his first love. Arden comes to the master's mind and he encourages him to give Albert a chance and to not regret his decision by letting him die just like that. The annoying vampire tries again and the master thanks him because of him he came to his decision and also for not harming Albert's heart. The master kills the evil vampire by removing his heart and we see the master drawing his blood to feed Albert. The only way to save Albert was to make him a vampire just like him. Albert became the first one in Blake's bloodline to make the master turn him to a vampire. Albert opened his eyes, finally. Anyways, my cuties kissed. They confessed to each other and they will live happily ever after. You guys, I really enjoyed reading this. From the plot, the art, the smut, each one of the characters to the ending, everything was perfect. In the end scene, there is a part I never thought I would see in my entire yaoi experience. I can't believe this manhwa was only 15 chapters, but like then it had 3 times the panels in average manhwas. So, anyways, I wish we had more. I want a side story of them having kids and living peacefully like right now. Overall, the manhwa was 10 out of 10. I encourage you to read the manhwa on your own to get the whole experience and appreciate every little detail that I might have missed mentioning in the videos. If you missed something, you can refer to it in the previous video. Anyways, I wish you all the very best. I hope you liked the video. Please subscribe.